I'm live. It always flashes up when I start the show. It says you are now live, and I always do a little celebration. Howdy, 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 guys. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Welcome. I was going to say it's the last Monday in May, but I guess we got one more Monday left before we shut down the month. Hope y'all are doing well. Let me start off with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all the reality fans out there. Now, today's a little special kind of day. Did y'all know that May 23rd isn't just any day? It is the 143rd day in the year, 143, SKD 143. So it seems like a perfect day for all of y'all, maybe just to take a moment, reach out to someone that's not expecting it and give them a special I love you just because it's that kind of day. But yeah, SKD 143, I love all y'all guys. Thank you so much for joining me again this evening. I have so much fun doing this every Monday. Those of you who are watching live, I appreciate it. And welcome y'all's comments. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff tonight. And for those of y'all watching on replay, thank you as well. I absolutely do appreciate it. For all of y'all watching, if you don't mind going out and giving me a thumbs up, that I keep being told that helps the algorithm. So thank you for that. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, if you aren't signed up for notifications, if you do it, you'll get the heads up every time I do a new show. So appreciate all of y'all and welcome aboard. I'm feeling kind of dark tonight. My reminder, my background, we're going to talk about that a little bit. But before we do, I want to look at I'm a little scared to look at the comments after the teasers I put up there. And sure enough, Amanda Lowe jumps right in with the first comment of red rum. Red rum, red rum, red rum. I remember that, The Shining. It's a scary show. We'll talk about that a little bit. Mark said, my favorite actor, my favorite drink. Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you, Mark. Howdy, Ma. How are you doing? Come play with us. Yeah, I should have known y'all were going to be loaded up with comments. Anthony, Marilyn Sutherland, hey, I'm excited for another live as well. Anthony Stike, howdy, Anthony. Paula Scar, howdy to everyone, yourself included. Just lost my comments. Let me go back up there. All right. Marilyn Sutherland, Anthony Stike, Paula Scar, Ma, I think I mentioned you. Don't mind mentioning it. Jake, the horror movie geek. Jake, I figured you'd appreciate some of the theme tonight as much as anyone else. Mark Taylor with a question about After Dark. I'm going to answer that here in just a second. We got a lot to talk about, but I'll answer that question. Maureen Carroll, howdy, Maureen. How are you doing? Ed Brewer, howdy to you, sir. Welcome aboard. Lasha as well. Good evening to you. Kiki. Let's see. Fred Benson. Hey, Fred, how are you doing? It's showtime. It is showtime indeed. And I hope I didn't miss him. And Brian Hostetter. I almost skipped right by some of those comments. Brian, how are you doing as well? Hope everyone is doing fantastic. Thank you so much. And Ed Brewer, there are two creepy kids behind you. Yeah. We might as well just go straight into that, right? And that's again, I don't know what's going on with me, just feeling a little dark this evening. It's not Halloween, but I did when I was researching the show. Yeah, I always do today's national whatever day or today's in history. Today in history, 1980, the release of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Yeah, there's a method to my madness. I didn't just randomly put this up. What is that? 42 years ago, The Shining was released. Scary movie. Stanley Kubrick, he kind of took did a little changes here and there from Stephen King's book. And I know Stephen King wasn't a real big fan of The Shining, the movie. In fact, he didn't like it at all. He was kind of pissed about the whole thing. And I understand why. The book is amazing. The very first Stephen King book I ever read, and it just absolutely scared me to death and creeped me out. But I got to say, I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan from 2001 Space Odyssey, and then The Shining came out. That hotel, they call it the Overlook in the movie, but it's actually the Stanley Hotel. It's an actual hotel up in Colorado. How creepy would that be? Now, I think all these sets and all, I think this was filmed somewhere else, movie magic and all that. Still be creepy to be out in the middle of nowhere watching this movie, don't y'all think? This movie, the music, dun, 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 everything about it, those creepy little kids and all, and yeah, it was a scary book. It was a scary movie. So I wanted to throw that out to y'all. Now, I got a little story for you, as I often do. Maybe one of the reasons I like this book and became such a Stephen King fan is because when I read the book, The Shining, I was, how old was I? I was probably about 11 years old or so. So what's that? The mid 70s. I read this book. My dad was in a commercial real estate broker. He sold ranches and things like that. We went and stayed at a place called the Cherry Springs Ranch, out in the middle of nowhere. It's in the hill country part of Texas, kind of west and south and all, but basically it's out in the middle of nowhere. We go to this place that we had to drive forever. My parents warned my brother and I said, don't do anything that's going to get you hurt because the nearest town is an hour away from us. It's not easy to get to. We had to drive around on this ranch and make sure there weren't squatters hanging out anywhere. And yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere. You can look as far as you can see. There's not a single building or anything. It's just out in the middle of West Texas. And that's where I was reading The Shining. So while I'm reading about this little boy who's got all these spooky things going on around him, I'm stuck in the middle of a ranch, feeling like I'm kind of living the experience. I guarantee if someone jumped out of a bathtub or came running at me from a hallway or something while I was out there, I may have just run all the way back to Houston. My parents may not see me for a couple of weeks, but yeah. So because of where I was when I was reading The Shining, I think it hit home just that much more. I loved it. I won't go on and on with it, but one of my all-time favorite movies and books of all time. So there you go. All right, now I know I saw a comment up here. Let me do this real quick before I forget, because I sometimes will do that. Mark Taylor, what happened after dark? And Ma asking the same thing about Big Brother After Dark coming back. I don't think so. And here's the deal. Big Brother After Dark was on Pop TV. Is there even still Pop TV? I'm not sure. It may have changed its name by now. But Big Brother After Dark was the extra, I think it was 3 hours that they showed basically every night while we were in the Big Brother house. The mascot was Orwell. And so I knew, I watch the live feeds and all that. So I knew Big Brother After Dark was going to be on during our season. And that's why I always carried Orwell around with me, because I always knew when the cameras were going to be on for After Dark. So I tried to always have a little bit more fun, do something a little bit more exciting, at least carry the owl around with me just a little bit more while that show was on. Because I knew the cameras, that was their mascot. I knew the cameras would be trained on me just a little bit more, and I'd be able to talk to my family. They'd be able to see me just a little bit more. There were people in the house, they didn't care. They just wanted to sit around and do nothing. I was like, come on, guys, let's go play a prank or go do something fun. Go run around the backyard, something. They didn't care so much about it. But I was always aware there was a lot of Big Brother After Dark that was on. And they occasionally sent things into the house. I know we made cookies one time. Sometimes they would send beers and little wine right about the time Big Brother After Dark was starting. Yeah, it wasn't coincidental, right? They wanted us to get a little more fired up and excited about stuff. But I was always aware of it. But I was so amazed. As soon as our season was over, then the next season we had All Stars, and Big Brother After Dark wasn't on. And I thought, it's just because of All Stars and all that. They'll come back the following year. Well, they weren't back for season 23 either. I kind of think at this point in time, it may be done, which I hate. I got so much extra to watch. Yeah, you can watch the live feeds. It's the same thing, but just something special. More people could watch it and all. And so, yeah, Mark, Ma, I don't think it's coming back. Now, maybe they'll surprise me. I mean, maybe season 24 will have all kinds of After Dark going on, but there's so much focus on the Paramount Plus app and channel and getting you subscribed for the live feeds and all of that. And I have a feeling someone sat there and said, well, why are they going to subscribe if they get 3 hours every night to watch for free anyway? So it may be a money decision, but if that's the case, yeah, well, at least I got Orwell sitting here with me. He flew the coop, so to speak. So we got Orwell here to watch the show, and I'll be watching live feeds no matter. It's starting up. We're almost there. I saw a thing come out saying that casting is just about done, but it's not too late. Pretty close, but yeah, if you want to give it one last shot, certainly can do so. So yeah, we're about to the casting of it, but yeah, I don't think Big Brother After Dark is coming back, unfortunately, because I always enjoyed it. Paula Scar, would you take a job for the winter in a vacant Snow Inn hotel? Well, summertime a little bit better, right? Wintertime, I don't like the winter. I'm a Texan. I'll take the heat. Speaking of, all right, we'll talk about that in a second. It was a little hot in my house over the weekend, but yeah, yeah, in the summertime, I wouldn't feel so claustrophobic. Hey, I'd be perfect for working as the caretaker in that house, right? I already spent 3.5 months locked away in a house. And I think there are a couple of people a little creepier than those girls in my house, right? I'm just kidding. I love all of them, but yeah, I've got some practice, so yeah, I can do it. Especially give me the laptop. Let me talk to y'all once a night and everything. And of course, it'd be a little scary if some Monday night the scene comes on and y'all see this as a background and I'm nowhere to be seen, or you just see some little finger sticking up from the side doing this stuff or something. I could make it a little bit creepy, right? So yeah, pay me enough. I'll go caretake anywhere, I guess. Ed Brewer saying, did you see Dr. Sleep Part 2 of The Shining? I have not seen the movie, but I read the book, and it's so hard to duplicate what happened in the first book because it was so new and everything. If I recall, Dr. Sleep, Danny is older and he thinks he's gotten away from this, but things happen. The Shining kind of follows you around wherever you go. I like the book. Maybe not my favorite of all time. That's got to be The Shining and The Stand. All-time favorite two Stephen King books, but that's pretty good. It was better than some of the more recent Stephen King books I'd read, which I was kind of like hot and cold on. So yeah, but I haven't seen the movie. I need to. I'm glad you mentioned it because I kind of forgot they even made a movie about it. Normally, I like to read the book first because my imagination creates scenes so much scarier than anything TV or movies can create. Although Jack Nicholson came pretty close, he did a hell of a job of really creeping up that creep factor. Right? It was. I love the movie. It was just classic Stanley Kubrick. Julia Shepard. When players are going to competitions, why do they bring their backpacks? Are you talking about on the challenge or Big Brother? Help me out here, because I'm trying to remember when we did our competitions and everything. Or you talk about Survivor? Yeah, sorry, because I thought the same question a while back. The only thing I can think is that every once in a while you get one of these episodes where Jeff Probst says, y'all aren't going back to camp. You're merging, or you're doing a tribe swap or something like that. And so I assume you take your backpack with you, probably just because they want to protect the surprise. If you never take your backpack and no one ever says anything, except for the one time that you actually do a tribal swap, well, then as soon as producers say, grab your stuff, everyone knows. So I have a feeling they probably just every single time you leave your little beach, they say, all right, grab your stuff. And, just in case, we're not telling you anything. I imagine they keep everything so secret there. So yeah, just in case, I think you carry it with you, especially if you have an idol hidden away or something. Can y'all, this week is the finale of Survivor season 42. It doesn't seem that long. I guess when you, 13 episodes, I think, 29 days of Survivor time. And we are down to the final 5. And I gotta say, well, first, I hated losing Omar. I've told y'all before, I just liked Omar. I just liked the way he played the game. He got a little caught up, maybe a little too cocky, tried to manipulate just a little bit more and got caught up on it. I think really Dre did him a bit of a dirty when she got evicted last week, and she said, man, Omar, you got my vote. You're going to win this thing if you make it to the end. If I'm Omar, I'm saying, don't be saying that about me. All you're doing is putting this big old gigantic target on your back. And I'd love to meet her one of these days and ask her, was it intentional that you were trying to create a target because he came after you? I kind of think so. But now I think he just paid the price for orchestrating Dre's eviction. And I hate to lose Omar, but I like seeing the final 5 that are still left. And Ed's saying, make an argument for the final 5 to win. Ed, I think I could make an argument for 4 out of the 5. If I'm Romeo, I'm not sure exactly what you say. It's not that he's played a bad game. I think he did what he felt like he needed to do, which was just kind of fly under the radar, not be the person in charge that gets blood on her hands. He hadn't gotten any blood on his hands, right? He's just kind of ridden along. I don't think that's what wins it at the end. I think the only way Romeo would win at this point is if he won the last couple of challenges and he made some big bold move, like saying, "All right, I'm going to go to the fire making challenge." I think he's got to really just go above and beyond at this point in time. So Romeo, a little tough to make the argument. Everyone else, I'm happy with them. Rather than making an argument for everyone, let me kind of tell you who I think my pick of who I think is going to win from most likely to least likely. And y'all tell me if you agree, if you want to switch positions, etc. I kind of think as a top pick, Lindsay. And that's because I think Lindsay, she's a strong competitor. No one's going to argue that she doesn't deserve it from a competition standpoint. She's been a pretty good game player from a strategy standpoint. She seems like she's always on the right side of the vote for the most part. She's been willing to go up against Jonathan, who's a big competition threat and everything. So I think for a lot of reasons, Lindsay could certainly take it. If not Lindsay, I'm kind of going with Marianne. I may not have said that a week or two ago because I felt like as much fun as she was having playing the game, as friendly, as joyful as she was playing the game, I didn't know from a move standpoint that she maybe had done what she needed to do. But after this last week or so, I feel like she's got some stuff on her resume that if she makes it to the final tribal council, I could see them giving it to her. I think I think a lot of people just smile seeing her at the tribal council. They're the person that I think a lot of people would like to vote for, and they're just looking for justification to do it. And I think she now has maybe given it to them. A lot of it depends on these last couple of competitions, but I could see Marianne doing it. After Marianne, Jonathan is probably my third pick. The only reason he isn't any higher is because I still think he's just such a huge threat. If he doesn't win these last couple of immunity challenges or find an immunity idol or do something to protect himself, I just think he's the easy person that you get out because he is such a competition beast. We know Lindsay's targeting him, and I think she would talk everyone else into getting him out the door if he doesn't have protection. And then finally, I said Romeo's at the end. So in between that is Mike. Mike's the old guy, the older guy. So, of course, I've been cheering for him from day number one. And there's no shame in his game. I like the way he's played the game. He's surprised me a few times, being a little more cutthroat than I thought he was going to be. So I could see him doing well. I just think that people, when push comes to shove, they're going to be willing to boot him out of the house, out the door, off the island, whatever. So there you go. Lindsay, Marianne, Jonathan, Mike, and then Romeo pulling up the end. I'm so looking forward. Reality TV, we do these little fundraisers. I'll probably go to Orlando next December and do Give Kids a World Village, Hearts of Reality. I'm so looking forward to seeing these Survivor contestants showing up because I'd love to pick their brain, talk to some of them, and, see how, I don't know, how, I'm trying to think of the right word, how they are on TV, how they are portrayed on the edit. How much does that really reflect who they are outside the game of Survivor? Because these, for the most part, are all people I would love to hang out with. If I'm stuck on an island with nothing to eat and just hang out and shooting the bull with people and keeping from getting stabbed in the back, these are probably some of the people I'd choose to hang with. They all seem like very nice people. So I've been really happy with this season. It's been a fun one. I saw a little blurb saying that they've already released the cast for season 43. Have y'all seen that? I only saw it once or twice, and I thought, well, I'll go back and look at it later, and I just forgot to. And I haven't seen anything else, so I don't know how serious it is. For all I know, it was a parody account, and I was supposed to know the people. I didn't even know them or something. But yeah, but the season's almost over, and then we got Big Brother, of course. And then next fall, we've got season 43. It's just constant reality TV. Love it. I love it this time of year. I absolutely do love it. All right. My mom's out here. Howdy, Mom. How are you doing? She's still hoping for Jonathan. And so is Sharon. And me too. I like Jonathan. Not that I'm not cheering for him. I just think there's a bit of a target on him. Ma saying Marianne, and Julia and nowhere saying Lindsay. I'm fine with all those picks. There's some seasons where at the end you sit here and say, okay, a couple of people, I'd love to see it. A couple of people, please don't let it be them because I just don't think they deserve it. And no, I'm not going to say which seasons that may be or not be because I don't want anyone mad at me. But not everyone who has won every season of Survivor was necessarily my top choice of who I thought deserved it. But this season, I'm going to be pretty happy with however it goes because they've all played a good game. Maryland Southerns. All right, yeah, let's talk about Nicole's engagement. So happy for Nicole's engagement. And Cindy Hire said, did you hear about Nicole's engagement as well? Yes, I did. Now, someone mentioned at the very end of last week's show, in fact, I think I'd already shut down or I was busy waving and saying my goodbyes. Someone mentioned Nicole's engagement. And all I could think was that y'all were talking about Nicole Franzel because she got married a while back and thinking, that was the whole thing of one of the themes of All Stars, right? Is Janelle going to come to Nicole's wedding and all that? So I thought maybe that was just talking about her past engagement. No. Little did I realize, not only did Nicole get engaged, she apparently got engaged and announced it during my show. We're going to have a little discussion about that. I think I'm going to tell her hubby to be, said, man, you should have come on my show. You could have proposed to her right here on Cliff Notes Live, and we would have had all kinds of fun. Probably not the way she wanted to be proposed to, but it would have been pretty cool, right? Man, how do you beat that? If Nicole and Brian had come on my show and she'd gotten engaged, I guess I would just had to do a mic drop right then, say it's been a pleasure, guys. That's all, folks, because I'll never beat this particular episode. See y'all later. But now I'm so happy for it. It's just incredible. I want nothing but the best for her. I got through seeing my two kids get married. I was so happy to see those, and now Nicole has found her soulmate, and I got to hang with Brian and Nicole, watch them together at last December's Hearts of Reality, and talk to Brian. I'm incredibly happy for him. It's that was very cool news, and I reached out to her, talked to her a little bit. Very happy. There's been a lot of stuff happening in the Big Brother house, right? Or in my Big Brother house, the folks that were in the house with me, right? Nicole got engaged, which is pretty cool. Kat Dunn. I told y'all a few weeks back I was watching X on the Beach for the first time since Kat was on the show. I couldn't do it, guys. I just couldn't make it through the episodes. There's a whole nother level of reality TV with X on the Beach that I just wasn't quite able to keep up with. But apparently Thursday night, so just a few nights back, was Kat's episode, and she got booted. She got booted off the show, which I kind of suspected because I had tried to pick her brain a little bit, say, hey, how'd it go? And she just kept saying, it was a very interesting experience. But she got booted because the guy who was supposed to be one of her exes used some slurs that were not appropriate. Kat, being Kat, called him out on it. And he kind of doubled down and used them some more. And so I guess she slapped him on the foot. And, these shows don't put up with any kind of physical contact, violence, threats, anything. And so next thing you know, Kat's out the door. I think, whatever. I'm glad to see Kat standing up and kind of calling someone out for some of the stuff that was said. So, that was a little quick on Kat's part, but Kat was on a reality show. We got a few other people that may be doing some reality shows, right? David Alexander, who may or may not have been on the Paramount TV version of the challenge. And I don't know anything more than y'all know. I saw some cast leaks that had mentioned his name. I know he kind of fell off the radar in terms of social media and all that. Well, apparently they've wrapped filming, and I need to give David a call and see if I can get some insider information. I would never ask him if he was on the show because I don't want to put him in a bind by having to say something that maybe he doesn't want to say or whatever. But I think there's a possibility that he may have just done the challenge based on what I saw on the leaks and all that. And I saw a brand new leak just a couple of days ago that the challenge, what is it? The challenge 38, I think, or so, is getting ready to film, as in it like started yesterday. And there may be two people who were in my house, my season of Big Brother, competing on the challenge. And the rumor, just like with David, I don't know anything beyond what I've read on social media myself, but I've seen a few people leaking cast list, and two of the names mentioned on the cast list are Tommy Bracco and Sis. Yeah, Tommy and Sis, theoretically, supposedly, maybe, according to the leak list, are going to be on the challenge. If they are, number one fan here, I may spend a little more time talking about the challenge, even more so than I normally do, because I'm going to be cheering both of them on. They're both athletes. Sis played soccer in college. Tommy's Broadway. Tommy scared me to death. I stand by my decision to boot him as quick as I got the chance, because I've watched, even after he got out of the house, I watched that guy work out. He is a beast of his own in terms of athleticism and everything. So I'll be curious to see. I think from an athletic standpoint, they'll both do fine. From just a pure cutthroat ruthlessness and everything, I don't know. I have a feeling Sis, if she gets backed into a corner, she's got a ruthlessness of her own that maybe we didn't see so much of on Big Brother when she was in a house. But I feel she'll fight back a little bit, and I know Tommy can hold his own as well. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to watching the two of them compete with a bunch of people that I see every season of the challenge. The same people coming back. I heard Johnny Bananas is going to be there. Wes is going to be there. All the names that we all know and love or hate, depending on who it is. So yeah, all my friends from Big Brother are doing these shows. Kind of cool. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun summer. Fred Benson saying, come to Texas, Nicole and Brian. Love to see you on Cliff Notes. All right. Now, there you go, Fred. You're right. And they don't even need to come to Texas. This newfangled technology, the internet and all that, I think I could probably just link them straight into this show. But you're right. I need to get them on that show, and I'm going to do that. And they'll agree to do it. Yeah, I need to get them on the show, and I don't know. We'll see how much we can either embarrass them, or we'll see how much we can pin them down on wedding plans and all of that. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea. So there you go. Two episodes coming up. One of them, get Nicole and Brian on there, and the other one, I still want to get my brother Bowie to talk about Old School Apprentice and all of that. So, yeah. All right. I got to start making some plans. Make some phone calls here and there. All right. Ma saying, can't wait until June. The last day of school is on my birthday. Well, first of all, Ma, happy early birthday greetings to you, and happy last day of school as well. Going to listen to ABBA since you're going to be 17. Hey, you know what? ABBA is one of my guilty pleasures. I love me some ABBA. A little cheesy, but hey, I grew up in the 70s, so I'm allowed to enjoy. Everyone should enjoy a little bit of ABBA. ABBA, Eurovision. ABBA won Eurovision with Waterloo. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic plan, Ma, and happy birthday to you indeed. All right, now talking about guilty pleasure, this day in history, I mentioned The Shining and all that. Did y'all know that also on this day in history, in the year 2000, we had the release of one of the better rap, hip hop, I guess, albums. Well, I guess it's rap. Eminem released on this day in the year 2000 the Marshall Mathers LP. Yeah, y'all know me. I'm big into country and western. I got my little guilty pleasures with ABBA and a few other bands here and there. But I gotta say, Eminem, some of his songs just get the blood pumping, right? On this particular band, the Real Slim Shady. I'm always a fan of that. And Stan, who featured Dido, one of my other guilty pleasures. I love Dido's music. So I was looking through before I prepared for the show, reading through all the different songs that were on that album of his. Man, just phenomenal. One of the absolute best albums. I think one of his top albums ever. Someone, and I couldn't remember who it was, inside the Big Brother house during my season, picked Eminem as their album to get for HOH. I can't remember who it was. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask around and find out. But now we all loved having that album in the house. Jessica picked Queen. I love Queen as well, so I spent a lot of time listening to Queen. And then someone else picked Eminem, and then someone else picked Eric Church. I'm a big Eric Church fan as well. We had some pretty good musical taste in that house. The different people picking different albums. So yeah, there you go. So 22 years ago, Eminem releases his, what was that, third album? I think it was third, maybe it's fourth. I don't know. But there we got that. All right, Mark saying top 5 comps in Big Brother USA. Oh, hold on. Sorry, Mark. Let me go back because I'm missing that. Top 5. Mark, watching all the old Big Brothers. Start on number 10, on number 12 now. Top 5 seasons from 10 to present. Let's see. Top 5 seasons from 10 to present. I'm trying to read it, Mark. Let me see what All right. Let me look back through there. What are the top 5 comps in Big Brother USA? I don't know. Are you asking as a viewer or as a competition standpoint? If you're either way, I'll tell you the ones I was most excited to do, even though I didn't necessarily think I had the best chance of winning all of them. Slip and Slide was a huge one. I mean, you watch that every year. The iconic ones: Slip and Slide, OTEV, and hanging the wall hanging. Oh, and I guess BB Comics. I mean, you got to start with those 4, right? But personally, my favorite, I'll give you 2 of my favorites. One was the, I kind of like the Patch Perfect, which I won HOH on, but I really like the veto competition that happened during my HOH reign, where you had to be pushing 3 buttons while you tried to strip your clothes off and everything. I just like that because it was so unique, Big Brother kind of thing. It wasn't the fastest person. It wasn't the strongest person. Maybe the most flexible person. Although I did beat Sis, so maybe not even that. But I like that just because theoretically anyone had a chance to win. The other one that I really liked was one called Coral Grief. And I don't know if y'all remember it, but it was a rope hanging down with a whole bunch of rods off, like a mobile for kids, babies, whatever. It had all kinds of stuffed animals. And you had to try to figure out how to hang those stuffed animals on each piece of wood so that when you got done, everything was balanced. And I like that competition because it seemed so easy, and yet it was so frustrating because I'm an engineer. I immediately looked at that and said, okay, I know that rod is twice as long as this rod, so I got to hang these animals here. I had it all figured out on weight ratios and where to put the ropes. Mathematically, I thought, this is my competition. I got it. But those little freaking stuffed animals kept sliding off those sticks when I wasn't paying attention. And once one falls, everything just tumbles and you have to start all over. So I like that competition only because, again, it's something that anyone could win. But certainly it was a frustration level that you come to expect with the Big Brother competition. So maybe, I guess I threw out probably 6 or 7 by the time we got done. But those are some of my favorites. I like some of the old school stuff that they don't necessarily do so much anymore, that are just little basic things like the food competitions that you had to participate on. Or I read one, can't even remember what season it was, but they had froyo, frozen yogurt, out in the backyard, and they split them up into 2 teams, and whichever team could eat the most frozen yogurt by the time expired won some kind of food reward or something. Now, how cool is that? I'm telling you, if they had a froyo eating competition inside the Big Brother house during my season and they had to pick teams, I think I would have gotten picked right up near the very first, because I can put down a little frozen yogurt if you ask me to. I think I would have done pretty well. I could have chowed down. But that's old school. They don't necessarily have those as much at all like they used to. But I need to go back and watch some of the older seasons because it's been a while. And some of those old competitions, low budget, you can tell there wasn't quite the budget for the competitions that there are now. So it was kind of, very old school. Do you know one of the very first competitions they had on Big Brother? I don't remember if it's season 1 or 2. Consisted of taking CDs. Remember those things that we used to play in machines before you had the Spotify and MP3s and all that? They used to take they had to take CDs and throw them into a little basket that was floating in the middle of the swimming pool, and whoever could get the most CDs or the first one to get a certain number in there or something won the competition. Now that's low budget, old school type competition. But hey, it's still fun. Uh, Ed's saying I'd win it. Yeah, I'd give you a run for your money, Ed. Can you picture though, if you're doing that competition, eat as much frozen yogurt as you can. It's not like Joey Chestnut over at the hot dog eating competition at Nate's on the 4th of July, which is coming up in another month. So it's not like that where it's just mind over matter. How much can you physically force down in your stomach? If you're eating frozen yogurt, I can only imagine the brain freeze that occurs when you try to eat too much of that stuff. You would just feel like your head was exploding, right? So do you keep on eating frozen yogurt even while you feel it getting worse and worse? What is your level of pain tolerance where you can still help your team win versus just falling over in absolute horrific pain from brain freeze? I don't know. Maybe I will set up my own reality show that's going to be nothing but wild eating competitions, and we'll find a different kind of contestant for those kind of shows. We won't worry about the showmances on my eating competitions. It's all going to be who can put that food down. But keep that in mind. We'll see. My mom's saying we are so excited that you got to do so many of your favorite classics. Yeah, me too. I truly was lucky in my season. For whatever reason, I got to participate in just almost every single competition in that house. I missed out one HOH because you can't compete as the current HOH. And I missed out on 2 veto competitions. And then I missed out on 2 activities because you could only do one of the 3. And I think that's it. Oh, and I didn't get to do that little America's field trip where y'all as a public picked the 3 house guests that got to compete. And I'm so glad I didn't get picked for that. Got to compete, do the little chicken coop, rolling the eggs down the ramp. I didn't do that. But for the most part, it didn't hurt in terms of competitions getting to do vetoes. When you're on the block every other week, and sometimes it seemed like that was the case for me, you get to do a few more veto competitions as a result. But yeah, I did almost all of the competitions that I've watched forever. And it is such a cool feeling because they don't tell us before we go out in the backyard what the competition is going to be. We spent a lot of time based on the clothes that we had for a uniform, or if they told us, wear your contacts or wear your glasses. We spent a lot of time every Saturday morning trying to figure out what kind of competition it maybe was going to be. But we never knew. They didn't tell us until we'd walk in the backyard. And sometimes you'd walk in the backyard, and the second you walked out there, you knew what the competition was going to be, such as slip and slide. Right. And, as soon as you see that, here you go. OTEV's the same way. Oh, here's OTEV. Oh, it's going to be so cool. Other times you'd walk outside and you'd say, what in the heck is this going to be? When they had the jet ski competition I talked about just a little while ago, that was one of my favorites. I don't know what I was thinking. I walked out and turned the corner and saw the jet ski in this big swimming pool and thought, oh my God, it's some kind of jet ski competition. I ride jet skis. I own a jet ski. I'm going to dominate this challenge. Well, it's one big jet ski in one tiny little backyard swimming pool. Not like we're riding around doing stunts and tricks and anything else like that. Now, so I should have known better, but I was just so excited to see a swimming pool and water and all that because I felt like I could handle those kind of competitions. But yeah, you never know. And I got to say, OTEV. I mean, to watch Big Brother for as long as I've watched, and y'all know what I'm talking about. You see OTEV on the episode, and everyone kind of gets excited about it, and you see whatever creature OTEV is going to be that year and everything else. But you see it close up of the OTEV creature. You see the playing area and all of that. When we walked out in the backyard, and I knew I was playing that competition, and we walked out, and I saw a big water area and mud, and the whole backyard's taken up with stuff. And all of a sudden, to look over in the far distance and see the big ramp where OTEV's competing, and to know that that's the competition coming up, it's just such an incredible feeling. It's like a dream come true. It's like being a huge football fan, and suddenly next thing you know, you're trotting out onto the field to play against the Steelers or something. It's really kind of cool. Ed's saying OTEV has a lot of nostalgia for me. Big moments. Yeah. I mean, Angela accidentally, well, not so accidentally, but giving away the clue to Tyler. There's people who've landed hard, people fighting each other over those ropes and all that. A lot of moments. I feel like Kat and I kind of had our moment on that one where she and I were both fighting for the last spot on the round 2, I guess. And I thought I had the rope ahead of her. And next thing I know, she's like a little gazelle running up the ramp, grabbing the rope in front of me, and her crying because she felt like she did me a dirty. And then me saying, my legs hurt anyway. It wasn't. It was, I could have kept going. But yeah, I had to keep her head in the game. But yeah, we were having our little hallmark moment up there when you're supposed to be doing cutthroat competitions. So I agree. There's just something about OTEV. Maybe it's just the way you eliminate one person at a time until the very end. Something about that competition does bring up some kind of special moments. I absolutely agree. I certainly have my moment from OTEV I'll always remember. Noah's saying, we totally watch that show. All right, well, thank you. I got one viewer. I feel like there could be liability issues if it's a competition to see who can eat the most food. But who knows? Maybe we'll figure something out. Seems like I could be a decent host for a show like that, right? And Anthony's saying, would go hog wild eating pizza. Yeah, me too. I've been all over the world. I've eaten. What I've discovered is no matter where you go in the world, there's two foods that you can count on anywhere, pretty much anywhere, and that's pizza and French onion soup. And I'm not sure. I guess everywhere grows onions, so you can always get some French onion soup. That's kind of my go-to whenever I was in somewhere I didn't always trust the local cuisine and everything. Hey, bring me some French onion soup. But pizza's the other one. I've had pizza with all kinds of interesting ingredients. I know in France they put a raw egg on top of your pizza. In the Middle East, Abu Dhabi, I think I had a pizza that was covered. The whole top was squid pizza. It's actually pretty good. I've had that. I've had actually had a pizza with escargot on it, which was kind of exotic. First time I ever ate escargot, snail, was in Colombia, and I ordered it just because I thought it sounded cool. Brought out in these big old shells, and the snails were all buttered up and everything. A little tiny fork that you got them out. It's good. It's really good. Second time when I had them on pizza, I tried to pretend like the snails were just kind of slimy mushrooms, but probably wouldn't get snails on my pizza again. But I tried it once. Hey, you never know. But yeah, I can put down some pizzas if I have to. Marilyn's saying some of the flavors of frozen yogurt were nasty. Yeah, no, they don't ever make it easy, right? And they've done that before. I know. Yeah, I remember the yogurt was bad. I remember, was it season 20, I think, where they had the smoothies that they had to make. I don't remember. Somehow you pick different ingredients, but there's like sardines and there's some disgusting flavors of smoothies. I keep going back to that jet ski competition, and it just kind of all comes together tonight. Before we do those veto competitions, that was one of the competitions where you don't all compete at the same time, like OTEV. There's other competitions like that jet ski that we would go one at a time and compete in. And in order to make sure that no one has an advantage by knowing what the competition is so they can work on strategy or anything else, the way it would work is we would each be locked into a separate room, and we just had to wait until we were called and it was our turn to go out and compete. If you're one of the 6 that were competing, you would get sent to a different room. Like one person would go to a bedroom, one would go to the diary room, one would go to the boat room, one would go to the other bedroom. They had it split up. One would go to storage room. They had it split up like that. If you weren't competing, everyone else went upstairs to the HOH room and was locked inside. So I remember that particular competition. I was HOH. I was trying to get Jack out the door, maybe Mickey, but really my target was Jack. And I just knew I had to win that veto competition. It was all on me to win it. And I was trying to think what period of time, what kind of competition was likely for veto. I knew it wasn't going to be OTEV because we were doing it one at a time. And somehow I got stuck in my mind that this was a perfect time for an eating competition, be it the smoothies or the froyo or something. And so I was trying to get myself so psyched up, saying, all right, no matter what it is, just ignore your taste buds. You're going to have to eat whatever disgusting thing it is because you got to win this veto. And I just spent several hours while I was waiting for my turn, just getting myself pumped up and everything. And then I go in the backyard. Nah, it's not eating. It's a jet ski. We didn't have any kind of eating competition during my my season. So yeah, they could have watched out for me. They could have given me one of those, right? Mark's saying is slop gross to eat? Well, since I was never a have-not, I may not be the most expert person to comment on it, Mark. But I did try some. Just you can't be in a house without trying it. It's not that it's gross. It is just the most bland food that you could ever imagine. I always thought, it's just like oatmeal, right? Maybe not as tasty as oatmeal, but it's just oatmeal. Kind of. Picture oatmeal that has absolutely zero flavor, no sugar, no butter, nothing but just that mushy oatmeal that you start with. And I love oatmeal. I'm a huge fan of oatmeal, but this was bad, and tasting it once was rough. Being on it for an entire week, I felt for the people who were having to do that, because that's the thing. It's not the slop's bad. It just has zero flavor, zero taste, and you can't eat anything else. So you're stuck with it. Now, I would have, you can put condiments. You can put olives in there, ketchup, mayonnaise. Can you picture slop with mayonnaise? That sounds horrible. But I'd already figured out I was going to load it up with a bunch of maple syrup and get my calories through there and some little flavoring and all of that. I think I could have made it work, but fortunately, I didn't have to, because we only had have-nots for 2 weeks during my season. There were 4 people in my cast who were still in the house coming up on the 3rd week. And so it was myself and Holly and Nick and Sis. We were the 4 who had not been have-nots yet. And so we sat down and said, okay, for the next week of have-nots, it seems fair that we're probably going to be the ones to do it. We figured there are going to be 3 people who are have-nots. So I volunteered, Nick volunteered, Holly volunteered. Sis said, there's no way in hell I'll be a have-not if I'm forced to, but I'm not volunteering to do it ever. I don't want to eat slop. I'm not doing it. Well, it turned out we didn't have a 3rd week have-nots, so it was a moot point anyway. But yeah, there wasn't anything great about it. And then the following year, when they had All-Stars, apparently they changed the recipe for that slop, and it really made it that much more important that you slow boil this stuff forever in order for it to be soft enough. And if y'all remember, Nicole got sick from it. Several other people in the house got sick because they didn't cook the slop enough to make it digestible. Doesn't that sound horrible? So yeah, no, there's nothing good about slop. I think Big Brother Canada's slop, I don't know what the recipe is, but it's green. It looks even worse than Big Brother US slop. I feel like they're getting away from the slop. I mean, I know we had an All-Stars. Did we have it last season? Y'all tell me. I don't even remember if we had slop in season 23. But I feel like they don't pay as much attention to it because it doesn't seem to scare people away as much. I've said before on here, I think they need to change have-nots a little bit. Slop doesn't scare people the way it used to. The cold showers don't scare people the way it used to. I would limit your interactions. Say, if you're a have-not, you got to be up in your room by 10 o'clock. Or if you're a have-not, you can't go in the backyard. Tell people they can't go in the backyard, and you will have people fighting all over themselves to not be a have-not. You talk about cutthroat competition. If that's a penalty that you have as a have-not, no one would volunteer ever, because being able to go in the backyard from both a social interaction, a gameplay standpoint, but just to recharge your batteries. If I couldn't do that for a week, I would have killed someone. Not literally, but I would have been pretty upset. Anthony's saying no slop in 23. Okay, I couldn't remember it. I couldn't remember anyone being a have-not. Nothing against Derek. I'm not sure that Derek Frazier could have handled a week as being on slop as a have-not, right? That would have been a little tough. Cindy Hire saying, no, you just had to catch giant meatballs. And I didn't catch them that well either, did I? That was the very first veto competition that we had. And if I remember, I was either the 2nd person to go or the 3rd person to go on that particular competition. And we had to catch, I don't know, what little cherry tomatoes or something falling from overhead. And they dropped everything on us at once. I remember thinking, all right, I'm going to step back a little bit and just hold my arms out so all this stuff doesn't necessarily fall on my face and my head. And I'll just try to catch it in my arms. And I was told that, no, you have to stand in this little circle right under the middle of it. As soon as they opened the gates and all that ranch dressing covered my glasses, I couldn't see anything. And then they launched the meatballs. And I think they launched 3 of them. I almost caught one of them, but I didn't. I didn't catch any of them. And I just remember doing a walk of shame because Casey was there hosting that competition. So I didn't catch any of the cherry tomatoes. I didn't catch any of the meatballs. And then the last thing we had to do is catch a couple of strawberries. And while I was walking over to do that last part of that veto competition, Casey was just right there, and she's trying to encourage me. She said, you got it. You'll get one of these. And I was like, yeah, Casey, I think your reign is probably safe as the queen of this competition, because she did great when she played it. Me, not so much. I got 0 points, and I felt so bad about it until I got inside and found out that Nicole also got 0 points. I think Christy got 0 points. And the Sam ended up winning it. All he caught was like one strawberry and one of those little cherry tomatoes or something. That was a hard competition. But welcome to the world of Big Brother. The first competition I did is a veto competition. Ed saying, I remember when they had to compete for the pool, hot tub, pool table, etc. Yeah, make you fight for some of that kind of stuff, right? Because trust me, when there's nothing to do in that house, having access to the pool, having access to the pool table, you put it in a whole nother level of competition. I truly think. I mean, I always gave it everything I had. I don't think I ever threw a competition. There were some I knew I was safer than others. But I tried to always give it my all when I did those comps. But I would have done the same thing if they said, yeah, you're competing for milk, for swimming pools, for pool tables, for outdoor air, for warm showers. Make it all negotiable. Make it all winnable at some point, and you can have a lot of fun with it. I think they worry there could be some people that aren't very good at competitions, and maybe they would just be miserable in that house and just all self-evict if they had to go too long without a pool or outdoors or anything else. Surely not, but you never know. All right, Moss saying, unless they had allergies or lactose intolerance, they should have had to eat slop with mayo. Yeah. You know who would have hated that? Tommy. Tommy could not stand mayonnaise. He hated it. In fact, when we had that pie punishment, remember we had to go around slam pies in everyone's faces and all. We made one pie filled with mayonnaise instead of whipped cream just for Tommy. And I can't remember who got them. It may have been Mickey or Nicole. Someone got Tommy, just sort of. And it got on the side of his mouth, and all of a sudden he started tasting it raw as mayonnaise, and it's like Superman with Krypton. I think he just almost just fell over at that point and went comatose when he tasted that mayonnaise. Now, I like mayonnaise. Hey, I was keto before keto came along. That's part of the keto diet, right? I think it is. Eat a whole lot of mayonnaise. I love me some mayonnaise. I'm trying to be careful with it, but I don't know though. Eating it with slop, that sounds pretty disgusting. Now, y'all may not realize this as well. We had slop, but we also had slop for gluten-free, and what other kind of tolerances do people have? There was gluten-free and there was vegetarian slop. I don't know. Is there meat products and regular slop? I don't remember, but we had a couple of different formulations in the back of the house for people who didn't want dairy products, who didn't want gluten, things like that. So if you couldn't eat the regular slop, they weren't going to let you use that as an excuse. They had some different formulations for you in the back. I think in our house, it seems like Kat didn't really like gluten products, so they had special bread for her, and so maybe that slop was for her as well. But I think she just ate the regular, and they had fun with it. They made little bouncing balls and slop pancakes and slop cookies and all that. Oh, none of it tasted good, but trying to have fun with it. I remember in our season, Tommy, he didn't like mayonnaise, but Tommy also had a major peanut allergy. So we had to be really careful about that, to the point that the grape jelly, we had one in the front fridge. We had another grape jelly in the back fridge in the storage room, and that was Tommy only jelly back there. So that way, if someone was fixing a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and they accidentally got a little peanut butter mixed in with the jelly, it wouldn't affect Tommy. So he knew to always use the jelly in the back that was fresh and pure and all that. So yeah, Big Brother went out of their way to protect people who had some medical issues here and there. I'm glad they did it. I don't want anyone not to have the chance to play the game just because they're. I know we had Brittany last season who had she had lactose intolerance. I think some with that. There are a lot of things that she couldn't eat, and so they took care of her as well. So thank you, Big Brother. I always appreciate them watching out for us at least a little bit. So yeah, we got that. All right, let's see what else we got going on. I'm so far behind on the comments. Let's see. Tommy. Yeah, Bing Bong saying Tommy's on the challenge 38, and so is Annalise. Apparently, I've heard the same thing. I'm gonna be cheering for him. We'll see. Yeah, I'll be. It'll be so fun watching them interact with all the people I've seen on the challenge, and I assume Fessy and some of the other former Big Brother players will be back as well. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So, all right, Moss saying, Cliff, are you ready for Better Call Saul BCS? No, because I need to get caught up on it. I'm so far behind. I've got a new guilty pleasure, guys. Y'all know me. I kind of little on the nerd side. Not nerd, science fiction, right? I love me some science fiction. As a kid, I grew up. I love Star Trek. I love Lost in Space. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. I love Battlestar Galactica. I loved all the moon exploration, all the science fiction movies, all of that. Which may be why I like Stanley Kubrick with his 2001 Space Odyssey so much and everything. But I watched over the weekend. I got kind of caught up. Paramount Plus has a brand new Star Trek series, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I think is a series. I watched the first couple of that. It's got a young Spock, and Captain Kirk hadn't even shown up yet. It's kind of a prequel. I'm kind of into it. It's time for me to go back and get caught back up on a whole bunch of Star Trek series that I've never really watched. I watched the original Star Trek. I watched The Next Generation. And then I got busy with family and kids and all that. And I haven't watched all the rest of them that have taken place between then and now. But I got hooked back onto Star Trek just by watching the new series on Paramount. So that may be shifting up on my list a little bit of shows I need to watch is all those old Star Trek episodes. So I may be busy for a while. So yeah, Better Call Saul. It's on the list, but we'll see. In all honesty, Big Brother is coming up. So anything on my list, if it's not watched within the next month, it's going to have to wait till next fall, right? That's just the way it goes. Man's got to have priorities, right? All right. Noah's saying, I can imagine you and Nicole on Amazing Race together. Yeah, I would have a blast playing Amazing Race with Nicole. I would also have a blast doing Amazing Race with Kat. How much trouble could I get into with either one of those two on my team? So yeah, CBS, if you're watching, call me. We'll make it work. It'd be fun competing with any one of those two. Yeah, I've been all over the world. Nicole's been nowhere, so that would be an interesting contrast between the two of us. Kat and I don't know if we'd win, but we'd have fun not winning. So yeah, I'm ready for some more Amazing Race, and one of these days, maybe you'll see my smiling face on there. And if so, I tell you this much, if I make it onto a show like that, those of y'all who watch Cliff Notes Live, you're getting a special shout out. As many names as I can throw out in the span of my intro or whatever, I'm going to try to do it. Now they may edit it all out, but just know that you're all getting shout outs if I ever make it on another reality show, because y'all are special to me. Trust me on that. All right, guys, it is 8:00. Wow, the time goes so fast, but I knew there was a lot to talk about this evening. So guys, y'all have a fantastic rest of the week. For a lot of us, 3-day weekend coming up. For some people, graduations and birthdays as well. So happy birthday to y'all as well. But y'all have a fantastic week. Enjoy your long weekend next week. I'm still planning to be back on Monday, so we'll do episode 78 at that point. But until then, guys, y'all have a fantastic one. Remember, it's the 143rd day of the year, so a special shout out, special SKD 143 to all of y'all. Love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all, love all the reality TV world as well. Y'all have a great one. I'll talk to y'all later. Cheers, guys.